Suffolk City School Board will come to order. We will have, at this time, community input regarding proposed rezoning. Dr. Whitney.
This is an opportunity for the public to address the board members regarding rezoning that is being considered at this time. The board will listen to your comments but will not respond to any statements or questions at this time. Your comments may not identify any specific person in a personal attack or in a derogatory manner. You will be allotted 5 minutes for your comments. I will provide you with a 30-second warning to allow you to close your statements. Before beginning your comments, please provide your name and home address. Thank you.
We're now prepared for any person who would like to address the board.
Christopher Dove, 852 Colonel Meade Drive, Suffolk, Virginia. Happy holidays. It has come to my attention that the Director of Planning and Community Development has repeatedly made false statements to the Planning Commission and City Council with regards to the ability of public schools to support new development. The Director has stated that the total capacity of schools is considered prior to recommending new development. This board knows that that statement is not true, given the continued overcrowding of the schools under your responsibility. Recently, the director recommended approving an increase in density even though Elephants Fork Elementary and Kings Fork Middle Schools were over capacity with present authorized development. I ask you to plan the future development into your rezoning designs. The city government has chosen to violate the Uniform Development Ordinance requirements. Classroom overcrowding has been shown to have a significantly adverse impact on student performance and learning. I would also like the board to address the issue of mobile units during the rezoning. Currently the UDO permits 1.4 mobile units per 100 students in the elementary schools. The UDO states that this allowance is based on the school board's recommendation. So this board presently considers having an additional 269 students for the new elementary school above the 800 already authorized as a good idea. I disagree. Mobile units are only needed when the city fails to ensure services are available for planned development. Dr. Whitney and his staff have had to do the best they can given the handicap that the city has placed on them. No reasonable person can argue that mobile units are anything but substandard learning environments. Mobile units should not be counted when planning a future development planning to fail. I suggest that the board reevaluate your 1.4 per 100 capacity and either eliminate it or greatly reduce it. I have discussed in the past with Dr. Whitney, the mobile units present a significant safety issue for our students. We've been very fortunate that no child has been abducted while transiting between mobile units and the schools proper. Our schools are not staffed nor designed to create safe zones around the many mobile units that we have. I recommend mobile units not be included in capacity estimates at all, and that they be eliminated from your plans. If mobile units continue to be used, I recommend this board make it a policy that each member have to personally speak to the parents and tell them why their child was chosen to transit between mobile units and the school proper in all types of weather to use the restroom, get lunch, go to the gym, the library, music class, or art. Thank you.
Have any other members who would like to speak to the board pertaining to proposed rezoning? Anyone would like to speak pertaining to Suffolk City School Board will now open for public input regarding the 2018-2019 operating school budget. So if anyone, Mrs.
This is an opportunity during the school board meeting for the public to provide comments relative to the 2018-2019 operating budget. The board will listen to your comments, but will not respond to statements or questions at this time. The speaker's comments may not identify any specific person in a personal attack or in a derogatory manner. Each speaker will be allotted 5 minutes for their comments. I will provide you with a 30-second warning to allow you time to close your statements. Before beginning your comments, the speaker is to provide their name and home address. Under school board policy, individuals are not allowed to give all or part of their 5 minutes to any other speakers. Thank you.
Now, have any persons or person who would like to appear before the board in regards to the 2018-2019 budget?
How would I get them up there? While I'm waiting, I'm still Christopher Dove, and I still reside at 852 Colonel Meade Drive. I understand the budget process starts early, and that so I just wanted to put my 2 cents in while it's early, hopefully to get positive results. All right, I've given you each a flyer showing issues that concern me regarding the funding of public education in Suffolk. The top 3 pie charts show the racial distribution of the population of the city of Suffolk. The Suffolk schools students' racial population and the private schools' racial population. It's striking that the majority of the citizens of Suffolk are white, while the majority of students in public schools are black. A rough comparison by U.S. Census figures shows that nearly half of white students do not attend public education, while almost all of the black minority students do. Segregation appears to be alive and well in Suffolk City. The low income, being average of 70 or 47% of the student population receiving free or subsidized lunches or meals, attend public education, while the affluent white students that have to pay $17,000 a year for tuition continue to attend the almost exclusive white segregated academies. While segregation is a social issue and school funding is not. The middle graph shows that the reports from the Superintendent of Public Education for the state show funding reports for all localities for the past 10 years. Suffolk stands out as spending the least of all cities for each year. Compared to the other cities, Suffolk has underfunded schools for millions of dollars. You and Dr. Whitney are well aware of this. Talking to Patrick Roberts about the issue, he informed me that once he gets the budget from the school, he starts deducting money right away in order to share the wealth of the funds for the school or for the city. The Great Recession has been over for years. Suffolk total budget has increased 7.6% since 2008, while education spending has only increased 2.8% during the same period. Dr. Whitney and this board should no longer submit the austere budgets that they have been. Stop requesting the budget to just get by and submit one that will enable Suffolk to compete with the other local cities for talent and educational opportunities for our youth. Last year alone, in comparison to the average of other cities, you did not get $8.5 million. I suggest you ask for it. At the very least, request enough to make the copies that go unfunded for each year. I'm familiar with many teachers, and every year they spend money out of their own pocket so that they can have copies made, so that they can have course materials that are meaningful and timely and effective in presenting their topics and reinforcing learning. Yet they have to spend their own money to make it happen. The city finance director is currently under investigation for fraud by the State Board of Accounting for presenting 50% of the $545.5 million of the fiscal year 15-16 budget was used for education. I have requested the Justice Department to investigate the city government for underfunding a minority school district in a white majority city, while deliberately misrepresenting government expenditures, which you know they do every year. My question to this board is, why have you? You know the city continually represents or misrepresents educational expenditures as significantly higher than what is actually spent. You know the city spends the least total funds for education of all the cities in Tidewater, and you know low-income minority students bear the brunt of this deliberate underfunding. Why are you allowing this to happen? Thank you.
Anyone else would like to address the board on budget, proposed budget, 2017, 2018?
Good afternoon. My name is Tyron Riddick, and I reside at 141 Church Street, Suffolk, Virginia. And I would just like to open with this statement that was given to me by former Superintendent Dr. Liverman during his retirement. He told me, he said, be vigilant and watch. And as he came to that city council meeting, he stated, be careful how you fund your school systems. You do not want to return back to being the training ground for other localities. And I will caution this board to do the same thing. Be careful how we fund our teachers and our support personnel. We don't want to be the training ground for other localities. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else would like to speak on the proposed budget for 2017, 2018? Now's your time. While we're waiting, I would like to take this time to recognize Councilman Lou Ward, who is present tonight. Else would like to speak? We'll extend the time 5 minutes. We'll wait 5 minutes to see if any latecomers coming in. Well, this is closed. Thank you. We will have our regular public meeting to begin at 7 o'clock. We can begin now, can we? Yeah, okay. At this time, I will call to order the regular monthly meeting. We will have pledge of allegiance to the flag by Dr. Brooke Buck. Thank you.
Would you please stand for the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Well, we'll now have the certification of the closed meeting by Attorney Waller.
Resolution of certification of the closed meeting of December 14th, 2017 pursuant to Section 2.2-3712 of the Code of Virginia, 1950 as amended.
So moved. Second.
Board Member Bouchard,
Yes.
Board Member Brooks Buck,
Yes.
Board Member Byram,
Yes.
Board Member Mitnick,
Yes.
Board Member Skeeter,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Copeland,
Aye.
motion carried.
Don't have any public speakers. We now have a report by our superintendent, Dr. Whitney.
Thank you, and good evening, everyone. We're going to call to the podium Mrs. Beth Ann Bradshaw, our Public Information Officer, for our Good News Report. Almost gave her a doctorate there. Welcome.
Doctorate ever. Each month we take this opportunity to share with you and our viewing audience at home some of the exciting things that happen in our schools each and every day and some of the outstanding accomplishments of both our students and our staff. Tonight we have two special recognitions. First, I'd like to call up Shane Barfield, one of our career and technical education teachers, to recognize our CTE coordinator who is retiring. And once that presentation is through, he'll be followed by Dr. Stanette Bird and Pamela Connor, Directors of Secondary and Elementary Leadership, for a presentation on our Leadership Academy for potential principals.
Dr. Debransky, Dr. Whitney, and board members. My name is Miles Copeland, and I'm a senior at Kingsford High School. I would like to say thank you for allowing me and our Career and Technical Student Organization presidents the opportunity to speak with you this evening. Tonight, we are here to honor the service and commitment to our career and technical education by Gail Bess. Ms. Bess, if you would please join us. Because of your commitment and service to CTE, you have afforded us the opportunity to reach success that we never knew was possible. Because of your leadership, we have been able to have some of the biggest and best programs in Hampton Roads. Through your leadership, you taught us the skills to prepare us for the workplace and post-secondary education and continuously found ways to keep us competitive. You raised the bar for your teachers and refused to settle for mediocrity. Through your 40 years of service, you became our biggest ally, and we wanted to say thank you. I want to share briefly with the board Ms. Bess's service history so you can understand why she was our biggest cheerleader. Ms. Bess started service in 1977 as a business teacher at Suffolk High School. In 1990, she became the department chair at Lakeland High School. In 1993, she was promoted to teach prep specialist. Then in 1997, she was promoted to the instructional specialist position. In 1999, she became the assistant director of the then Prudence Center. Then in 2004, she took the helm as coordinator of career and technical education and adult education, where she served until this day. Ms. Bess, as a token of our appreciation, please accept this gift on behalf of all the career and technical student organizations. Before we close, I want to share one last thing. In every email, Ms. Bess concludes her message with a phrase: "Thank you for all that you do." I find this as an appropriate ending to your tenure. Thank you for all that you did.
This is very heartwarming, and I am so grateful for these students. I thank you so much for the recognition this evening. You are great leaders in your building, but know that I expect you to be exemplary leaders as adults. We're counting on you because we need you. Thank you so much. And while I'm here, if I may thank the board for the opportunity and the privilege to serve Suffolk Public Schools through 40 years and maybe 6 months at the time of retirement. As they shared, I joined the system in 1977. I've always been a part of Suffolk Public Schools because I was educated in Suffolk Public Schools. Suffolk Public Schools will always remain dear to my heart. And I know it's customary that we usually ask our seniors what are their fondest memory when they visit the school board. And I was thinking on that, and I've been here so long, I thought, well, truly my fondest memory is working with people, working with the Suffolk Public Schools team that has always respected me and showed their love for me. And I thank you so much from the bottom of my heart, from the school board to the SAO team, and specifically the curriculum and instruction team that sits out here. We work hard, we do a lot, but every now and then we try to find some time to have a few laughs around the office. It has been my honor to be a part of Suffolk Public Schools, and you have my number, so you will call me when you need me. I will be upset if you do not. Thank you so much.
I'd like to thank you, Mrs. Best, for your service to the Suffolk Public Schools for 40 years plus 6 months. Thank you very, very much. We're going to miss people like you. Thank you. You like where your family stand? Where your family like to stand? I think that's Best back there, right?
Yeah.
I think I taught him. Okay. All right.
Good evening, Vice Chairman Copeland, school board members, Dr. Whitney. We're excited to recognize and celebrate tonight the 2017 Leadership Academy for Potential Principals cohort. The Suffolk Public Schools LAP, Leadership Academy for Potential Principals, originated in 1997 and was designed to develop a strong pool of principal app candidates from within our school division. Assistant principals, deans, and teacher leaders with an administration and supervision endorsement could apply to the program. Applicants were screened, interviewed, and required to do a writing prompt. This year, we selected 18 of the 55 applications. LAP is offered every other year, and since its inception, 176 Suffolk Public Schools leaders have completed the program. This year, we've already began making the mark on our school division by leading 15 very meaningful division projects. In addition, 6 of these cohort recipients have received a promotion.
Greetings. The LAP program experience included leadership seminars where our cohort learned what it means to be a principal here in Suffolk. They were able to shadow principals. They were able to walk through classrooms with administrators. They attended school board meetings. You see them here tonight as well. Attended city council meetings. They attended professional conferences and seminars. And also tonight we will highlight some of their professional projects, or all of their professional projects that were completed. So at this time, I'm going to call up each member of the cohort to receive a token of our appreciation. Ask Dr. Whitney come down to join us. First, we don't have who could not join us today is Miss Roberta Branch. Her topic was Real Talk. We dream, we prepare, we achieve. Ms. Branch was quoted with saying, sometimes it's not what it looks like. There are some of our students who are just trying to survive. They need us to keep it real and keep it relational. Ms. Branch is an assistant principal at Booker T. Washington. Next, we'll ask Ms. Jennifer Connor, who is an assistant principal at Nasman Parkway Elementary School. Her project was the 2017 Summer Leap Summer School program. She's quoted with saying, if we had to make it fun and engaging, this was one of the best administrative experiences that I have ever had. Next, we call up Ms. Tanika Edwards. She also worked with the 2017 Summer Academy program. She is not here with us today, but one of her famous quotes throughout the program was, decisions were made based on the students' most critical needs. Next up, we have Mr. Vashon Ely. He is a dean at Kings Fork High School. His topic was customer service training and workshop. He's most famously quoted with saying, I can tell how my day will be the moment I walk in the building. Professionalism is so important. The first impression is everything. Hit the button. Little inside joke there. Next, we have Dr. Marlo Jackson. She is a social studies specialist and works at Central Office Department. Her topic was the role of department chairs in instructional leadership. She's quoted with saying, I just had to question that. Duties are things we have to do. Responsibilities are things we should do and must approach with passion. Next, we have Mr. Tim Kubinak. He was promoted during the process to science supervisor. He's one of the 6 that Pam mentioned earlier. His topic was SOAR, Suffolk Public School Outreach Activities and Resources. He's quoted with saying, when we have multiple partners in one place, we can begin to build a sense of community. Next, we have a teacher leader from Lakeland High School, Ms. Brandy Lacrone. Her topic was physical education teacher assistant course proposal. She's quoted with saying, we had to get more out of study hall and give students something to work for and to earn an extra credit. Next, we have Mr. Shaka Miller. He was promoted to the dean during this process at Elephants Fork Elementary School. He worked with the division website development. He's quoted with saying, in leadership, you can never predict what the obstacles will be.
Next, we have Mrs. Candace Myrick. Ms. Myrick did 2 projects this year. She did the Suffolk Public Schools badges that we're wearing daily. She also did a school suspension, an alternative to out-of-school suspension. She was quoted to say, I touched every single badge in Suffolk Public Schools, so there's a little piece of me in all of you. And Mrs. Myrick was actually, she's the assistant principal now at Creekside Elementary School, and she was promoted through the tenure of this program. We also would like to recognize Mrs. Jill Paraska. Ms. Paraska is the assistant principal at Kilby Shores Elementary. Thank you. Her project was the 2017 LEAP Enrichment Summer School Project. She was quoted by saying, the experiences that students were able to participate in this summer for free were amazing. Next, but is not able to be with us tonight, Miss Lisa Rath. Mrs. Rath is the assistant principal at Pioneer. She did a project which was a quick reference guide with reports, Edivate, eSchool, special education, and AP indicators. And she was quoted for saying, I'm going to figure this out. I wanted to name this book AP for Dummies. Next, we would like to recognize Mrs. Denise Singleton, who is a professional guidance counselor at Booker T. Washington Elementary. She did a project called Real Talk. We dream, we prepare, we achieve. She was quoted saying, the first step was to get to know our students. Now he's one of our success stories. He's totally different from what he was before. Mrs. Singleton. Next, we'd like to recognize Barbara Tidd. Mrs. Tidd was promoted during this tenure as the assistant principal at Oakland Elementary School. She did a project on the teacher assistant observation tool. The teacher assistants deserve feedback too. They want to grow and deserve to be recognized for their work. Barbara Tidd. Next, this is a dual promotion, Janetta Vaughn. Mrs. Vaughn was promoted twice this year, once as the AP at John F. Kennedy Middle School, and now will recently join the CNI team again as the math supervisor. Janetta Vaughn's project was the 2017 Middle School Algebra Readiness Academy. She was quoted, "We had to make it fun, make it something different. Kids talked, kids collaborated, and it was out of the box. The kids had a great time." Ms. Vaughn. And last we have Dr. Andrea Wilkins. Her topic was customer service training workshop. She too has been promoted during this tenure as the assistant principal at Northern Shores Elementary School. And she was quoted saying, "It takes a lifetime to build a good relationship, but only 1 second to lose it." Now I'd like to bring to the podium Mrs. Jennifer Connor. As you see on the screen this evening, we're sharing some pictures. At the beginning of each of our workshops and seminars, they were tasked with the job to do a icebreaker. And so this first picture to the left, you'll see them in a ice-breaking moment of trying to problem solve together. And then the other pictures are those that are presenting to this group. Ms. Jennifer Connor.
Good evening, Dr. Whitney, Vice Chairman Copeland, and members of the board. The 2017 participants of the Leadership Academy for Potential Principals would like to share our utmost appreciation for all the support, mentorship, advice, and opportunities that have been given to us by many members of the Suffolk Public Schools staff throughout the year. Individually and collectively, our educational leadership knowledge, skills, and abilities have grown tremendously with the opportunities we have been afforded through our monthly sessions, summer projects, walkthroughs in other buildings, shadowing of current principals in our division, as well as the continuous support and cooperation given to us by our fearless leaders, Dr. Bird and Mrs. Connor. The bond and support we have created with one another is immeasurable. Many of us call on each other regularly for advice, support, or just a much-needed pick-me-up. Furthermore, several of us have already been afforded the opportunity to move up on our own personal leadership ladders, and the rest of us are well on our way. We are all excited about what the future holds for us and how we will make an even greater impact on the students and staff of Suffolk Public Schools. Your contributions to our professional growth are invaluable. I would like to now introduce one of my fellow participants, Dr. Marla Jackson, who will be recognizing several of our colleagues who have helped us along this journey. Dr. Jackson?
Good evening. We would like to recognize the following individuals for supporting us along this journey. We are very appreciative for the time and experiences you shared with us. We would like to present you with a small token of our appreciation. First, Dr. Darren Whitney, Superintendent of Suffolk Public Schools, for his words of congratulations and encouragement. Dr. LaToya Harrison, Assistant Superintendent, also gave us words of congratulations and leadership qualities. Dr. Suzanne Rice, Assistant Superintendent of Student Services, Tiered System of Support and PBIS and Alternatives to Suspensions. Attorney Wendell Waller talked to us about being the school board attorney and school law do's and don'ts. Ms. Forsman, the Executive Director of Finance, talked to us about school budgets and spending. Mrs. Diane Glover, Director of Special Education, talked to us about special ed law, do's and don'ts. Dr. Rodney Brown, Director of Human Resources, spoke with us about professionalism, interviewing tips, and recruiting and retaining teachers. We also had a special seminar called Day-to-Day Operations of a School Building and Q&A from LAP Cohort. This panel consists of Mrs. Laura Mooney, Principal of Booker T. Washington Elementary School, Dr. Sean Green, Principal, John Yates Middle School, Mr. Dan O'Leary, Principal of Nansemond River High School, and Mrs. Chanel Woods, Principal of Nassau Parkway Elementary School. Next, we have Ms. Beth Ann Bradshaw, who is the Public Information and Community Relations Officer. She talked to us about crisis management and community relations. We also had one last panel. That panel was the day-to-day operations of a school system. That included Mr. Keba Baldwin, Director of Transportation Operations Panel. Mr. Terry Napier was the Director of Facilities and Planning. And Mr. Brian Williams, Director of Food and Nutrition. Thank you.
I failed to mention earlier that each of the members of the LAP leadership cohort received a leadership award for completion of the Leadership Academy for Potential Principals, Suffolk Public Schools, 2017-2018. Dr. Whitney, Vice Chairman Copeland, and members of the board, Pam Connor and I would like to thank you for allowing us this time to recognize and celebrate the 2017 Leadership Academy for Potential Principals cohort. Thank you.
If I may just say, just as was indicated, this program started years ago, and I'd like to publicly acknowledge Dr. Lynn Cross, former Assistant Superintendent. But each year, as we have grown this program, we have had folks in place to say, let's revisit it, let's reshape it, and that's exactly what Dr. Bird and Mrs. Connor has done, and it has really gotten our leaders ready for that next step, so I appreciate that. And to those of you who are in the cohort, thank you so very much for the work that you have done, because we got some free labor out of you with those projects, and we certainly appreciate that. We're very pleased because we do believe in building and growing our own. I think that builds capacity, and we're very pleased to do that. So thank you so very much, and I look forward to working with each of you in the near future, or continuing. That concludes the superintendent's report. Back to you, Mr. Chair. Actually, it doesn't conclude it. We have the community service update. Dr. Bird, anxiously waiting to share. You may recall one of the suggestions that you had given us a while back is to update the board and the general public as a reminder as to where we are with community service, to just raise that level of awareness. You may recall last year was the first class that actually obtained or was required to have 50 hours of community service, and tonight, Dr. Bird, our Director of Secondary Leadership, will share with you an update. Dr. Bird.
Thank you, Dr. Whitney, and I apologize in advance because some of the slides are redundant. They are things that you have seen in the past, so I won't spend a lot of time on those. There are a couple of new charts that you will see presented. Once again, I'd like to remind you that the way we are capturing data is new this year, so in some cases we aren't able to compare to where we were last year, but in the future we'll be able to allow these charts to grow to see how we compare to previous years. Purpose of the high school community service hour requirement was to promote civic responsibility through active participation in service experiences, to enhance students' ability and desire to impact the community in a positive manner, to foster a sense of caring for others, to develop a habit of volunteering service to those in need. They be reminded that the guidelines are that students need to earn 50 hours by April of their senior year. We have a recommended timeline that by 9th grade, students will have earned at least 16 hours, 10th grade, 17, and 11th grade, the final 17. This is what we recommend. You may remember that we did this year also bring this opportunity to our middle school students so that they could begin earning hours before they even walk into high school. This is just a recap of some of the activities from last year, just to give you a sense of what our students participated in. They attended our elementary summer program, that is the LEAP program, worked in soup kitchens, assisted hospital staffs, and so on. If you take a look at this chart, you can see where we are in terms of the division by grade level. So, just reading quickly across, if you look at let's go to the 12th grade, you'll see that 56% of our seniors have met less than 1/4 of their requirement. But on the other extreme, we have 30% who have already met all of their requirements by the start of December. Here's one of the new charts that I mentioned earlier. You can see the seniors in the first two columns when compared to the previous month, as well as all students, and you can see where I continue to increase community service hours. Of course, we would like to see that number a little higher, but we are moving in the right direction. Another new chart that looks at the information by month, October, November, December. Once again, in the future, we'll be able to look back and say, where were we last year at this point? And we will have this information readily available to us. Lastly, this is just a chart of the previous slide that we mentioned, and ideally, as the year goes on, what we hope to see, I'm going to use the senior, for example, is that this bar graph of students who are less than 1/4 begin to shift to this side, and this grows. So just a visual representation of the information from the previous slide. Improving the process, we once again introduced the community service hours at the middle school. They can begin earning hours as early as 6th grade. We've developed a new high school transcript that is going to show those community service hours, and we remind students of the community service hours quite regularly. You will see here it says 2nd, 3rd, 9 weeks with report cards. We also sent home a flyer just this week to our seniors, and I'm going to skip to that for a moment. It was actually hand copy was given to our seniors, as well as it was posted on division websites and Peach Jar. And the premise of this is let's remember to lend a helping hand over the winter break, and don't forget to report your hours to your guidance counselor. For those who may not have seen this before, or those viewing online, this is just a location of where you can get more information about the community service hour requirement, as well as those opportunities for members of the community to submit opportunities that our students can participate in. This concludes my report. Any questions?
Dr. Bird, I'm sorry. How would you describe the response of the community? You said that there's possibilities they can offer opportunities for the students. How would you describe their participation at this point?
That would be something I would have to get back to you on.
Okay,
Yes.
but how was your feeling about it? Do you?
I can say, when we have our key communicators group, we had much discussion about that because of the first year and the fact that many seniors were rushing at the end of the year to try to get their hours. One of the things that they suggested are some of the things that we've done as far as including them on a site or including them on the list and letting them know early on what students are available so that they're not asked at the very last minute, can you find something for this particular student to do? So we're taking their suggestions as well as far as making sure that we've risen the level of awareness for not only the students, but also the agencies that are out there that may have something that students can do.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I have a question. So in the 9th grade, if they're following their plan, they should have 16 hours completed by the end of their 9th grade year?
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct. That is our recommendation, yes.
Right, that's if we follow the
Yes.
timeline, so to speak. Have you thought of incentives that you might provide for 9th and 10th graders to get them sort of jump-starting? I know some children jump on this very quickly and they complete it, and by the end of the 9th grade, they've got 25 hours maybe or whatever. Have we thought maybe of doing some kind of recognition or some kind of special program where they might be recognized so that other students might say, gosh, I could have already completed that and I would be fulfilling part of my community service.
Yes, ma'am. On that, I kind of went through this particular slide pretty quickly, but the second bullet here, we looked at a June reception, and we were kind of careful because we just wanted to recognize, as you mentioned,
Right.
so a reception at the end of their freshman, sophomore, and junior year for those who have met that particular goal.
Right, so there is something in place for that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, that was my question.
Yes,
Make sure. Thank you, sir.
No problem.
Question from the board?
Thank you, Dr. Byrd. The last item under the superintendent's report is calendar of special events, and if you'll turn to page 24, you'll see that we have a few bulleted items there. The first one is the last full day before winter break is December 20th, not that anyone's counting. Schools reopen on the 2nd of January. Custodial Workers Appreciation Day is January 10th, Martin Luther King Jr. holiday, January 15th, and Virginia School Principals Appreciation Week, January 22nd through the 26th. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Dr. Whitney. Next, we'll have the consent agenda by the board. You can look and see if any items you would like to delete from the consent agenda. If not, we'll adopt it as written.
I move that we approve the consent agenda.
Second?
Board Member Bouchard,
Yes.
Board Member Brooks Buck,
Yes.
Board Member Byram,
Yes.
Board Member Mitnick,
Yes.
Board Member Skeeter,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Copeland,
Aye.
motion carried.
Next, we have unfinished business. We have several ordinances here. This is the second reading. We need action on them. It's a possibility we can approve 1 through 9 in one vote if it's the wish of the board, or if you'd like to take each one separately.
No way.
Okay, well,
I would like to move that we approve the ordinances 17/18 through 23 through ordinance number 17/18-31.
Second.
Board Member Bouchard,
Yes.
Board Member Brooks Buck,
Yes.
Board Member Byram,
Yes.
Board Member Mitnick,
Yes.
Board Member Skeeter,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Copeland,
aye.
motion carried.
Next, we have new business. We have a couple of items, items. Scheduling of the 2018 School Board Organizational Meeting for 3:30, Thursday, January 11th, 2018, as an action item. Proposed courses 2018-2019 as an action item. And Lakeland High School Stadium name change request, Edward S. Smithers Junior Stadium, that's an action item.
I may speak to
So
each
you'd
of-
like to speak
Yes.
to Mr.
The
Secretary.
first item, the scheduling of the school board organizational meeting, as you well know, that's a routine meeting. That is the date of our January meeting, so we would start at 3:30 for the organizational meeting.
I move that we approve this schedule for the organizational meeting for Thursday, January 11th at 3:30 p.m.
Second.
Board Member Bouchard,
Yes.
Board Member Brooks Buck,
Yes.
Board Member Byram,
Yes.
Board Member Mitnick,
Yes.
Board Member Skeeter,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Copeland,
Aye.
motion carried.
The next item are proposed courses for 2018 through 2019. If you'll turn to page 44, we have a summary there of the new courses. We have 4 courses that we're recommending for approval, 11 courses not recommended at this time but considered for future review, and 4 courses recommended for description or prerequisite changes only. I'll call to the podium Dr. Latoya Harrison. If you have any questions, she'll be more than happy to answer those. But also, we have the all the other courses that we'd like to have approved as well.
Good evening, Vice Chairman Copeland, Dr. Whitney, and board members. As Dr. Whitney mentioned, you'll see in your board books on, I actually have page 50 here, summary of the courses that are recommended for approval or change. The 4 courses that are being recommended for approval for the 2018-19 school year include Advanced Science 6, AP Psychology, Environmental Science, Anatomy and Physiology. Recommended for change or modification of the course will be Adapted PE, Earth Science, and Geometry, and the change there is just simply a change of grade level where the courses will be offered in grades 8 through 12. And then Small Vocal Ensemble, and there it's just an amendment to the course name. So, and then there were 11 courses that are not being recommended at this time, primarily due to either the high cost associated with offering those courses or that the courses did not demonstrate enough student interest at this time to warrant offering those particular courses. But we will revisit those courses in a future time. In terms of the courses that are being offered for or recommended for approval, Advanced Science 6, this will be an enriched version of the regular Science 6 course that's offered in middle school, and that will offer students who are gearing up to take Earth Science in middle school. That'll kind of help those students who are on that track to prepare them for physical science in 7th grade and for Earth Science in the 8th grade. AP Psychology, we're thinking about the necessity to offer that, thinking about some of the changes that may be happening with dual enrollment and our dual enrollment courses as the state continues to make some changes with the financial model for that particular program. And so we may need to offer that in the division to provide our students opportunities for those advanced level psychology courses. And then Environmental Science, that will serve as a substitute for Earth Science or Biology and provides additional options for our students. And that's another course that's being recommended by the state with the new accreditation changes as some additional courses are moving down to the middle school. And so that, again, that provides more options for our high school students for science courses. And then Anatomy and Physiology, again, provides additional science options for our students who are pursuing careers in the medical and health science fields.
May I ask a question? Well, I have 2 questions. First of all, it says not recommended American Sign Language. That's a really popular course. I must have not understand what you mean by not recommended.
So if it's not recommended for approval at this time, it was either based on funding and having to provide an additional teachers at our schools to teach the course, or student interest. So for that particular one, it was probably related to funding more so than.
Well, do you mean that, so we're not going to have any sign language offered? Is that, because I thought that that many kids take that course and it's very popular.
Let me just look at my notes, I'm sorry, it must have been a change. It may have been an additional level is what.
Yeah, that must be what it is.
Yes, and that's actually probably just a typo in the document. So, and I'm not sure what level of sign language would have been.
Yeah.
But, and typically, as we were looking at some of the more advanced levels for some of the courses that were being proposed, the advanced level courses, the enrollment is much less and much lower in some of the more advanced level foreign language courses. So offering that would require.
I see what you're saying, the more advanced ones. And then my second question is just an observation where it seems that none of the arts are being recommended. And I think that's really, 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 really sad. Where are we headed?
Sure, and I will say for some of the arts courses, a lot of those were more advanced level arts courses. And so when we looked at the level of enrollment, let's see, I can give you an example. So some of them were had lower enrollment so Theater 4, for example, we have low enrollment in Theater 2 and 3. So it didn't really make sense for us to offer Theater 4 at this point because we already have low enrollment in Theater 2
the
and 3.
earlier classes.
So a lot of it was, again, based on student interest in the courses that are prerequisites for the course that was being proposed.
Okay, thank you.
I noticed on page 47, that we do offer sign language 1, 2, 3, and honor sign language, right?
And Dr. Burgess corrected me on that. Was actually for 8th grade sign language.
Oh, okay.
That's what
Okay.
yes.
Okay, that's what we were asking about.
That's logical, yes, okay.
Other question from the board?
Make a motion that we approve the recommended courses for 2018, 2019.
Second.
Board Member Bouchard,
Yes,
Board Member Brooks Buck,
Yes.
Board Member Byram,
Yes.
Board Member Mitnick,
Yes.
Board Member Skeeter, Vice Chairman Copeland.
Aye.
Motion carried.
The next item on the list for action item is Lakeland High School Stadium name change request, Edward S. Smither Jr. Stadium. You may recall you requested that I place this on the agenda for tonight.
Dr. Whitney, do we have policies in place for how do we go about naming a part of a school
Not to my knowledge, I don't believe we do.
so that it's possible that this could go through and open a floodgate for other people wanting parts of a school to be named after an individual, whether it be an auditorium or a library or stadium? So without a policy in place is my concern that I'd like to see a policy, and that if this meets the requirements of a policy, then we could adopt it. But-
Currently, there is no policy, so the board does have the right to vote on it now, and you can direct me to create a policy for parts of buildings in the future, or you have the right to vote, to not vote on it at this point.
but, and Dr. Whitney, my question is, what support? I mean, I know that a gentleman came and requested that this happen, but if we were to vote on this and it just came from one person had this idea, do we know the support that it has?
I have the written statement that the gentleman, if you'd like the clerk to read it, I can.
Well,
give her-
that wasn't, I mean, so he read that. I
Yes.
mean, so, yes, and he came here. But what I'm saying is that, do the people at Lakeland High School want this, or I feel in a little bit out in left field, no pun intended, regarding the stadium, because I would want to vote on something that,
Anecdotally, speaking with the administration at Lakeland, they're in support of it. They feel it would be a good decision. They support the idea.
I would like to make a motion that we table this decision until we have a criteria in place for making such decisions.
was that a motion you made?
Yes.
Okay, I second that motion.
Board Member Bouchard,
Yes?
Board Member Brooks Buck,
Yes.
Board Member Byram,
Yes.
Board Member Mitnick,
Yes.
Board Member Skeeter,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Copeland. Motion is carried to table this action until a policy has been directed.
Rest are informational.
Okay, the other ordinances placed on the first reading, and this is for informational reading. And next, we don't have any public speakers. We have business by board members. Starting with Mrs. Skeeter.
I'm going to speak on what we just talked about. Don't we need to give directions to our policy committee to go on and put this policy together so that we can make a decision by, I guess we were looking at September, about a new school year. So is that an action or just consensus that we give the policy committee the
I assumed when that comment was made to take it back to the policy committee to create a policy that they could bring, yeah.
All right, okay. And of course, I'd like to say that tonight's recognition, that was just great. I love to see folk recognized for what they do, and I'm sure when you listen to what happened, they spent a lot of their extra time into sessions or classrooms or visitations or whatever. And I think Dr. Whitney and his team should be congratulated on putting this together and recognizing them publicly. I was here when we had it before, and then I wondered what happened to it. I guess it was just faded out someplace, but now it's back in, and I think we're going to see many, many great things come from this program in preparing our staff that we have, people we hire, to become administrators or leaders in the field. So we thank you, and I'm proud of you, proud of all of you all, but Dr. Whitney, I'm proud that you thought to bring it back. Thank you.
Dr. Bird and Ms. Connor, actually, but thank you.
Oh, well, you all are the ones. Yes.
Thank them.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes. I was very moved by the comments on Ms. Beth's retirement, and I had an opportunity myself to work with Ms. Beth over the years, and I'd like to congratulate her on her retirement and wish her well, and I know we'll see you around. I'd like to wish all of our families in Suffolk Public Schools Merry Christmas and Happy Hanukkah and joyous Kwanzaa, and I hope everyone has a safe holiday season. And I'd like to say thank you to our curriculum and instruction staff who every month prepare the information for us and come here and are prepared to answer all of our questions. And you do it every month, month after month, and I really appreciate what you do to make our job so much easier, and thank you.
I'd also like to join you in the chorus of saying thank you and happy holidays. You work really hard, and it's time for a break. So bless you and have a wonderful time. I do want to say two things. Mrs. Best was one of the first people that I met when I joined the board working on her with a committee over at Turlington Woods. And I've enjoyed working with you, and I just think it's wonderful that you've given 40 years of your life to this district. I think that's exceptional. And you come with a smile and say you'll give us help. So we like that very much, and I just wanted to say that especially. I met, the third thing and the last thing is I met a wonderful little girl who explained at the State of the Schools demonstration that we had out at the Hilton. She explained all about flexible seating in the classroom. She was impressive, and she's over at Hill Point. And she just does a wonderful job. I was over at Hill Point, and it's a wonderful school as well. But I just wanted to say she just did an exceptional job. She was very impressive, and I look forward to great things for her. She might be our first female president, I don't know, but she just has it going on. Very impressive. And have a wonderful time. Thank you. That's it.
Ditto. But anyway, Gail, I've known you a long time, and I know you've worked very diligently. I think I said this the last meeting. A lot of times you did a lot of things in the background that you didn't get credit for, but you always came, like they said, with a smile and a willing heart to contribute. And you've contributed so much to our young people here in the city. And every time we go places, we see them working, and you have helped promote that. And I appreciate what you have done. And Ms. Connor and Dr. Byrd, I want to express my appreciation for bringing this group this evening. I think, as everyone said, we need to do this more. We need to pat each other on the back more because we don't get a lot of thanks out here. And those little things really mean a lot. And thank you for devoting that extra time and getting this geared up again, Dr. Whitney, as Skeeter said. And I do wish everyone a wonderful holiday season, a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, etc. And I did want to say one little comment. I just want to extend my condolences to the Dobransky family. I know all of us are thinking of Dr. Dobransky and Marty tonight, and we have you in our thoughts and prayers. Thank you.
I would also like to second that, those condolences to Mike and Marty Dobransky. Mary Donnan was one of our students at Lakeland High School. He had two daughters, and I taught Megan, and several of my friends taught Mary Donnan. Very wonderful person. Moving on, I'd like to thank you, Dr. Whitney, for inviting the Virginia delegates to Hill Point Elementary yesterday, and also Ms. Connor for coming to that. And it was really, really exciting. I want to thank Mrs. Pichon and Dana Bilby also. They did a wonderful job. That is a very exciting school, Hill Point. And I know that both Cliff Hayes and Chris Jones, who attended, were impressed with the school. And also, they both seemed to be very responsive to our questions for them and our concerns about the way the state of Virginia is responding to the needs of our school system. But more than anything, it was just fun going around Hill Point. That is a lovely school. Thank you.
Thank you. I'd like to thank all of the board members for their comments, and I think they were well taken. In addition to Mike, Dr. Dobransky, I think that it would be appropriate, if possible, with the board member, we just take a moment of silent prayer with Thank you. At this time, we have, we don't need to go into closed meeting for another certification meeting. We can look at our informational items, and if you have any questions, we'll address them. Any questions on the informational item? Hearing none, we now have action on our closed meeting by Ms. Bashar, personnel report.
Okay, I move that we approve the personnel report.
Second.
Board Member Bouchard,
Yes?
Board Member Brooks Buck,
Yes.
Board Member Byram,
Yes.
Board Member Mitnick,
Yes.
Board Member Skeeter,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Copeland,
Aye.
motion carried.
Now we have pupil personnel report.
Yes, sir. I move that we approve the pupil personnel reports.
Second.
Board Member Bouchard,
Yes.
Board Member Brooks Buck,
Yes.
Board Member Byram,
Yes.
Board Member Mitnick,
Yes.
Board Member Skeeter,
Yes.
Vice Chairman Copeland,
Aye.
motion carried.
We thank all of you who have been in our presence this evening, and we look forward to seeing you in January of 2018. But in the meantime, we hope that all of you will have a very happy holiday season. Thank you very much for your presence. This meeting will now be adjourned.